Hey guys, Matt, IronTrap Garage, and we are going to do a week in the life of in the fall. This is like a post-Hershey week in the life of. Basically, we get just as busy as the spring in the fall because we start getting all these estates and have auctions and calling us, and things have cooled down, stuff we've been putting off all year. And also we're getting back into the swing, working in the shop, which is nice. We're not traveling as much, hopefully. And yeah, we got a lot going on this week. We figured it'd be fun to shoot on one of these week in the lives of. We have an estate that we've been doing for a while that we're going to stop at. They're kind of sold the property and they're cleaning up and told us we need to come and get whatever stuff we can get out of there before they start scrapping. I think there's an auction this week of an estate that we had bought a bunch of stuff out of privately. They're now having a big estate auction to clear up the property, so we'll probably go to that. We got, I don't know what's going on. Got the first fire of the year going. So I got the stove going nice and hot. So I started the stove up the other day. So we're getting that going, which is a good thing. It means we're getting progress done on cars. I've been working on, in the background, on the Sweetheart Roadster. I added some door tops here that I blended in. I did the other one yesterday. So I'm gonna be doing some more work on that this week. Got a flathead engine that we're gonna try and get running with a new aluminum radiator we got for the run stand. So a bunch going on. Mike's working in the warehouse, of course. Moon's hanging out, guarding the property. So we'll take you along for a ride throughout the week. All right, so I figured I'd show you guys, we get a lot of questions about as far as TIG welding sheet metal and some of the stuff, way I do things, which isn't necessarily the right way, but this is stuff that works for me. So one thing I use a lot that I think is an underrated thing, it's kind of like welding body filler. It's a little more permanent than doing lead, but it is easy to work with and it's nice for blending what we're doing here. So this top area on this car on both sides was all patched and messed up. This car was cracked down in the body line here, which is a very common thing on pretty much all early Ford Roadsters, but especially Model A Roadsters. 3031s, they crack here. So I had welded it back up, but it had been cracked and welded a bunch of times. So this top piece here was all cobbled together and really, really junk. So with restyling the doors, I wanted to make this piece here, get rid of the little loops for the top, and do a new piece up here. But what I'm doing is, because I kind of restyled it, I actually raised this lip up just a little bit to match the top of the door here. So I cut it right on the edge of the bend, and we want to kind of recreate this outer bend here, this radius. I want to kind of reshape that just so everything flows into itself. So what I like to do is use the silicone bronze. So I go through and I'll stitch weld through here with normal rod and get a good weld in here so it's not going to break or anything. This isn't structural. It is pretty strong, but it's not structural. And then what I'll do is come back and fill in between with the silicone bronze. Silicone bronze is a little different to weld. I don't like to do a lot of like running beads. I'll actually do more kind of like quick zaps because This rod's a little thicker. It's a little, because we're welding thin sheet metal, sometimes it takes a little more heat to get this hot enough to melt and flow in. And if you try and weld a puddle, the heat will build up and it'll melt away. So when I'm welding with silicon bronze, I have like 60 amps, which I would almost never weld 18 or 20 gauge with 60 amps. It'd be something more like 35 to 40 amps. So I weld with a higher amperage. We get in and we get out, and I just kind of move along as I go and try and fill it in. So what I'm trying to do is just fill in with any imperfections, and also I'll try and blend and get it to melt into both surfaces and also kind of melt over this corner here, which will allow a nice blend when you're welding sanding everything out. So I will start a weld, and I'll shove some of this rod in, let it melt. And you kind of just push it around by moving your TIG torch, and also sometimes with the rod I'll push it along. You just got to watch the puddle when it gets real flat. Make sure you're not burning away the other surface. But by doing these short little zaps, I'm able to kind of control the heat. You could also do this if you set your torch up for pulse, or if you have a pedal, you could always go on and off, on and off. But for me, I use the finger switch a lot because I'm welding in and around the car. And again, this doesn't mean this is the best way or the way. It's just something that works for me for blending and sculpting these edges together. I like to do. Did a lot of it on the door and the cowl in this car. And some of it's just my skill level. Somebody that's really, really good would make these pieces and they'd fit so perfect that they just TIG weld it, blend it out, and everything would be great. But I'm not quite at that level. So I use the silicon bronze kind of as a way to cheat a little bit.
Alrighty, today is Thursday. We're down here in Jersey at an estate buying some more parts. We got the big white trailer because we got a bunch of stuff to buy. Got a bunch of parts in here already, some engines. Steve's very excited to work on some more flatheads. Bunch of parts, making a pile. Having some fun for the day. So we got everything upstairs. It's still a mess up here, still going through stuff from Hershey. A lot of it had not been for sale before, so I have to go through, photograph all of it, then put it away. So it's taken me a little bit, but we got a bunch of Hershey stuff that we got in Jersey. This will be up for sale in a week or so. I want to get all the Hershey stuff, and there's stuff in the middle from Seattle that was in the 3 window. All this stuff needs to get done first. Then I'll come back to everything we got at Jersey. So there's a bunch of Model A parts, some top irons, a bunch of steering boxes. There's a rear down there. Depending on the gear ratio, we might sell it. If it's something good, we'll keep this one and sell another one that we have. There was a 34 project that we bought that was some odds and ends and bits and pieces, a bunch of steering boxes. These carts are just filled with stuff. Hood sides. I think this is a 37 front fender that was up in the ceiling we grabbed. Garnish molding, a few adapters, some hubcaps. This is all smalls. Bunch of juice brakes, another bin of magazines. There's all kinds of stuff in here that I have to go through, but I need to be a responsible employee and handle all the other stuff that we had first. That all needs to get put away, sorted, priced. Then I'll get to the stuff behind me. We're headed to an auction tomorrow, so we might have even more stuff coming in. And then next week we have 2 estates that we're visiting. So a lot of influx of parts before the end of the year, but wintertime's a lot slower for us, so it's a good thing. So let me get back to work getting this stuff away. Matt and Steve went on a little adventure. I'll maybe show a little teaser footage. They went to pick up the first car that we've bought with Big Red. So fun little milestone today. So let's get back to work, get this stuff away, and tomorrow we have another adventure.
What's that?
Alright, I gotta get the
Yeah, you gotta, yep, keep it cut like that.
Yeah.
Like I said, if we gotta readjust once it's on the winch, we can let it roll back down. I keep it cut pretty hard like that. No, keep it cut.
Keep it cut? Okay.
Or am I wrong?
I'm good on this side now.
Yeah, this side you're probably, yeah, you're good. Actually straighten right there.
Remember that.
I just got this out. This was way over there, so you can get
Yeah.
move around. What the hell is this thing?
Yep.
But the battery's probably shot. I know this one runs. I should sell that sucker over to the food market. I got so much shit. I was looking for this one.
Oh, the light went out.
Huh?
The light went out. Oh, there it is.
I think there's a cord plugged right there.
Yeah, where it was plugged in at.
Is that coming through here? Oops, that's probably what it is.
Yeah.
I wonder, I'll start fire. Nothing?
Nope.
Ready? Oh, we'll put it in the engine up over there.
Thanks for your help.
Just hold back on the engine so it doesn't go off the shopping cart.
There we go. This is a 59. All right, so it is Friday. Mike and I were going to go to an auction locally, but everything got so crazy this week, and we're actually due to travel next week to go to a couple of estates that we're checking out. So we opted to stay close to home and just work on some stuff. So we got that Model A actually running. That'll be a future video. We got it unloaded and we actually got it running. So Steve's gonna work on probably next week getting it actually like ready. We just got it like with a nurse tank to drive around the yard. So he's gonna work on that. We got some of this stuff got fuel on it, so we got some like odor be gone stuff that we're spraying on the carpet and floorboard to try and make that not stink, because that thing had a leaky fitting on the gas tank. And we got these engines unloaded from the estate in Jersey that we were buying from. We bought a few engines. So this engine here is a 59AB with an early trans on it, like a 33.4 trans. And the engine's been sitting forever. The bores are all rusty and we don't know what's up with it. So we're gonna pull the stuff off of it that we definitely want. It may be a good block. We're not gonna go through the effort of trying to break it free and try and make it run. We've wasted too much time this summer doing it already. So probably just take the stuff we want off of it, and then we'll probably offer the block for pretty darn cheap if anybody's interested. It's a 59AB. It may or may not be good. We're probably gonna offer it up for a couple $100 or something like that. as a core, but we're going to steal. It's got a 2-piece oil pan, a truck oil pan, which is very desirable. That trans, we just keep those in stock for anybody that needs a transmission and any of the other odds and ends on it. We got this really kick-ass APA that is all dolled up that we got from the same estate. This engine looks like it probably was pretty cool at one point. It has, it's probably hard to see, but we opened it up and it's got a broken cluster gear in there, so somebody was driving in a spirited manner and broke the trans. We're hoping that's why the engine was pulled out of the vehicle, but the engine is stuck. So we don't know anything about it. I basically, like I've kind of talked about in a lot of videos, I really only like to pay, if an engine's stuck like this, what I can see on top of the engine. So the heads, the intake, all that stuff, the trans as a core, I pretty much paid what all that stuff is worth. Steve and I are going to do a video, a future video, coming weeks or months, where we're going to diagnose this engine, see if we can get it running. So we'll, you know, literally from, you know, somebody's garage floor sitting for years, looks great. We're going to open it up, see what happened with it, and maybe we'll get lucky, maybe we won't. But we'll take you along on the process, because I think this is important to educate people, because there's still a lot of people that are asking a lot of money for stuck unknown engines, and I think it's kind of crazy to pay that kind of money for a mystery. So the other one we got is another, this has 59 AB heads on it, but I think it's like a 41 engine, I believe. It's got the raised deck here. That is like a 41 specific thing, I believe. So it's an earlier deck engine, but actually no, it is a 59. That's odd. So it is a 59 AB. Geez. Anyways, there you go. 59 AB. This engine is stuck. We tried turning it over at the estate. We know nothing about it. It looks completely stock. We'll probably take a look at that and see how bad it is. Just pull the heads in the intake and see if there's anything real obvious on it, and then we'll go from there. I don't know, but we got a lot of flatheads kicking around. We got this other one. We bought a Carlisle that we got running, but I think it has a broken ring, so we're going to put that aside and take that apart. That thing wasn't overheating, so that's a good thing. So that one we think is a decent engine. We're just going to have to go through it and see if we can, fingers crossed, just it needs a set of rings and we can put it back together and just run it as is for a little jalopy. But got a lot going on with this stuff, so we're going to jockey some stuff around. I'm going to take a ride in my dad's car and we'll talk about that. I think we figured out the major issue in that. Got the T running a little bit better, so we might take that out for a drive and just enjoy one of the last probably nice Fridays of this year before it starts getting cold. All right, so like we mentioned, this is an early trans, just to give some information. These early transmissions, like 32 to 34, they had the shift towers actually angled like this. So these transmissions are, some of the later transmissions, you could swap the gears around a little easier, but these early transmissions were a little bit different. But that's a quick, easy way you could spot a 32 to 34. 32 actually has mounts for a handbrake, where 33 Ford do not. And I think maybe be even into 35. But they're still good transmissions. It's just an earlier style trans with not as good of, you know, the synchros aren't the same, or does not as shift as nice. So, all right, ready? The bottom bolts are off already because it's got the removable oil pan.
Yep.
Ready? Sorry.
Hey, mouse
Look, a mouse nest.
nest. Go figure. A mouse nest in a abandoned flathead.
Yeah. Look. So somehow, this is what we find with this crap. Literally, somehow underneath in the oil pan, a little mousey got inside the clutch and was living inside of here. So, yeah, that's interesting. Never know what you're gonna find.
Just what happens. Why do you think always have to look at clutches?
Yeah, it's another one. It looks like it's a brand new clutch. To the camera. This looks like it has a brand, this happens all the time. It looks like it's a literally brand new clutch. The Made in USA is still on it. I don't think it was ever run, because first couple times slipping the clutch, you would have wore that off. It just rusts where it was tight, where it was tightened down. So another one that was like somebody rebuilt the engine maybe and it was never run and it sat. Who
Yep.
knows?
That's what it looks like.
Big stick tubes, probably. Yep, go ahead.
Oh, right.
Yep. Focal lines.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Tiny bit of oil, but not much. Looks very clean in there.
Is it?
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, it looks clean. All right, so we got that engine all taken apart. Pretty productive Friday so far. We're gonna go up and take a look at Dad's car, take that for a drive. So Dad's car, we had gotten the car driving, and then my dad ended up moving to Delaware this past year and sold both his places in PA and Florida. Moved to Delaware, and he's been dealing with that all summer, so we haven't really gotten involved. So this car basically, last few times we drove it, we found out that it wasn't shifting into third gear. So we fiddled with the shift linkage and all that stuff and just couldn't get it. And then my dad not really needing the car, I kind of just set it aside and never touched it again. So we've been so busy this summer. My buddy Justin does mechanical work and is a little more well versed in these things. So he took a look at this car and basically put it up on his lift and was going through it. And we found out, long story short, nothing was wrong with the trans. Apparently this engine and trans, it has a like 64 Cruise-O-Matic or something, which is like a C4 but not. And basically the shift pattern is different than what we would think of with a normal automatic transmission. And it had like a small dot and a big dot on the shifter originally on the car it came out of. And when you put it in the big dot, it will shift all the gears like normal, but where the big dot is essentially what we would consider second gear on a normal automatic shift pattern. So we were putting the thing in what we thought was drive, which was like the small dot, which only shifts first and second for driving around town. I'm regurgitating all this information from what Justin told me. So paid Justin a couple hours labor and he was able to figure it out for me while I was running around buying parts and doing all stupid stuff. So he said that he drove the car, shifted through all the gears, brought it back. I'm gonna take a test drive for it. Steve and we literally haven't started this car before Justin got in it since like February. And they said the thing just fired right up and ran no problem, which is nice with having a slightly more modern engine and carburetor setup in it. Worked nice. So we're gonna take it for a little drive, see how it shifts and drives, and we're probably gonna make our little short list of stuff we need to do this winter. So literally next summer, my dad can just hop in this thing and start driving around and have fun in it. All right, so Steve and I were just talking about this. I haven't driven this car since like January or February. Steve worked on it a little bit and put the shifter box in for the shifter. We got this B&M shifter in here that they sent us, which was very nice of them, but we never had put the box in. Yes, I know this is like more of a muscle car thing, but it was free. And we're gonna eventually probably add a shifter to make it a little cooler. But as you can see on the side here, the normal shift pattern, hopefully you can see that, is what you would expect. You know, it's a modern shift kit or a shifter that we got. But basically what Justin was telling me, where we were putting it in drive was actually the small dot that was only first and second. So he said if we put it in what is second gear, it should go into all three gears. And then, so what we're probably gonna do is just make a little sticker or something for this to remind ourselves and anyone that drives this car, because this may be a community car, especially my father, that which one he needs to put it in. So we'll put a drive where it's supposed to be. Should be good. So that was the big problem apparently. So let's see how she does.
There it goes.
More choke.
Yep.
Our gas gauge is reading a little under half, so hopefully. We ran the big red truck out of fuel yesterday.
What's this wee crap?
I ran. Moon and I ran the red truck out of fuel yesterday, and yeah, every vehicle I have, we run out of fuel.
Yeah.
So we'll try not to run this out of fuel. Let's hope.
Well, we'll trust the gauge until we know not to.
Yeah. All right. So that feels like reverse. The indicator says reverse. Oop, I was just reaching for the clutch. All right, so neutral, drive, second.
Second gear.
Or also drive.
Right.
Apparently.
Maybe.
All right, so now, oh, shifted there.
There's 1, 2. I think it just shifted into third gear when you lifted there. I think. I'm not positive.
No.
It feels like third gear.
Right now?
Yeah.
Try to tell how fast we're going. Yeah, see, I can't remember when we drive, because it shifts into second real fast, right?
Yeah. It's a really soft shift.
Yeah.
It doesn't shift hard. Sometimes it's hard to figure out when it shifted.
Yeah, it must be, because we're only at 2,000 RPMs and we're doing 50, probably 45, 50.
Yeah, we would be like up to almost $3,000 before doing this. Yeah, I think we definitely got third gear that time.
Feels like it.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Now let's take the T for a drive.
All right.
That was the first successful drive in the T ever where it didn't overheat, it didn't backfire through the exhaust and bog and do weird stuff at weird RPMs.
Yep.
And yeah, pretty much that was, it's still not perfect, but this was the first time that, turn my fan on. This was the first time that it's driven without, it's a bit annoying, first time that we've driven it without having a major issue. So
Yep.
super cool. We ended up finding out something's up with those chrome carburetors. We don't know if there's a crack in one of them or all of them or something going on, that there's like a vacuum leak. We basically were clued in the end. We were going so far in jet size on the carburetors that we were at the point of like alcohol jets. And this is a very hot flathead, but it's not that hot of a flathead and it's not alcohol. And that's where we started scratching our heads. So Steve redid a set of 3 carburetors, put them on, and we started out yesterday or the other day with, we were at like 56 or
Oh yeah, we were crazy.
56 or 58 jets, something crazy.
Yeah.
And he went all the way back down to 48s, which is like a 1 step up from stock on a 97. So we drove that, and the car was driving decent, read through the RPMs with the new carburetors, solved 99% of problems, but it was running hot. It was as you were driving it, cruising, temperature was slowly going up, which was kind of telling us it was a little lean at, you know, cruising RPMs. So he went up another jet size, and now it's really good. It stayed around 170, 180, but when I got on it and we were leaving, higher RPMs, it started falling on its face, and you know, we got cruising, and you saw the temp spiked real fast, so telling us that it's lean and needs more fuel. And it was running a little warm. It's only like 60 some degrees today. It's
right,
not,
yeah.
It's not very hot.
Nope.
And it was still running 180, which at this temperature, cruising along, it should be running a lot cooler than that, even with the little little radiator. It should run a little cooler than that. So we are like super close now, which is exciting. Steve and I, we thought it was maybe the scoops, but really it was something with those carburetors. We don't know what it is. We're gonna have to do an autopsy on them and figure it out. But there's some sort of major problem with them. So we're going in the right direction. Now I could actually, right now I could probably take it out and take it to a cruise in or something if I wanted.
Heck yeah.
But we're probably gonna go up one more jet size, keep messing with it. And we're super, super close now on the tuning that this thing can finally start up and be driven. And then this winter, and then winter will come, and then I get to redo a bunch of stuff that we don't like on the car that for the first iteration. But 2 cars we got to drive today that stuff is fixed.
Pretty darn cool. Yeah, that's a good Friday.
Right in time for winter.
Yeah, right.
All right, so kind of ended the day on Friday. We had a pretty eventful Friday between driving some of the cars and actually had some good results. Working on this new Model A that we just got, and we'll have some future videos on that of getting it running, and hopefully we'll be driving around the neighborhood. We're working on filming a video now, cleaning the gas tank and some of that stuff that it needs repairs. We got some of the engines moved around, and we got that one engine kind of taken apart. We're probably going to sell that engine. It seems like it might be a good core, but it definitely needs to be taken apart, maybe bored and whatever, but probably list that up for sale on our IronTrap Finds page or on the website. Didn't go to that auction we talked about, but our senior member of the IronTrap family went to the auction, and Pete was able to grab me a really cool old Dago drop axle. The old like hammer dropped axles are kind of crude looking. Really neat if you're into this stuff. I have anyone laying on a pile that a scrapper bought, and he was able to purchase it on my behalf, which is really great and made my day. And Pete found something to buy because he doesn't really need anything else. So gave him something to do today, and he had a lot of fun, and we got a lot of work done today, which is really cool. So super, super eventful week. We're gonna round it up at the end of this week with the local parade in my town. It's been going since like the early 1900s, I think. They've been having a parade in our old town here. And we're gonna take Big Red in the parade. Mike's son, my nephew, we're gonna have a bunch of our friends go in the big truck. We're gonna drive it in the town parade, which would be really fun if it doesn't get rained out. So if it does not get rained out, we'll have some shots here at the end. So thank you guys for following. Appreciate it. Catch you later.